Hi everyone, Happy New Year to you. This is a little bit early for a New Year's Eve video, but what I'm going to show you is I think it could possibly be the best dessert you've ever tasted. That's if you like Bailey's Irish Cream. And it's got to be Bailey's Irish Cream because using the cheaper copies is never the same, as with everything. So what you will need for this Bailey's Creme Brulee, and it's absolutely delicious, is, but first I'm just going to warn you before we go any further, this is a non-bake Creme Brulee. It's not the one where you have to put water and then you put your brulees in these and then cook them for hours and hours and hours. This is a non-bake recipe. So what it does have in it is raw egg yolks, which will be heated up somewhat when you pour the hot cream onto it. But I just wanted to warn you about that before we go any further, because if you don't want to eat something that has raw egg yolks in it, even though they'll not be totally raw, back out now. So what you will need for this recipe is you'll need 8 ramekin dishes or creme brulee dishes, mine are glass. You will also need 5 medium-sized egg yolks. You will need 2 tablespoons of sugar, caster sugar preferably. You will also need a pan, a fairly decent sized pan. 600 mils of either double cream or whipping cream, or even single cream will work as well. I prefer the double because the richer the better for me. The glass I've got there is literally just to crack the whites of the egg into. My favourite vanilla extract, which is the Nielsen Massey vanilla. Doesn't like getting close to focus anymore. Some Bird's instant dairy custard, of course some Bailey's Irish Cream, and you also need a mixing bowl. So I think I've got everything here. You also need a good old whisker, and better if you don't use the ones that you use for making your bath and body products. I keep all of mine separate, even though I'm going to show you this recipe from my soap kitchen or soap studio, because it's nice and bright in here and much better for doing videos. So first off, what we need to do is we will just put all of these to one side, because the first thing we're going to do is crack these eggs. Just make sure you can see what I'm doing. And we need this dish over here because this is what we're going to whisk our eggs in. So you need to separate your eggs. Just make sure that you can see what I'm doing here. I'll just lift it up slightly. Crack them, open them. Do this a few times, pop the yolk into one side of the shell and then the other. If you can possibly get the membrane off, that'll be better. And we're going to do that for 5 medium-sized eggs. And I promise you, this will be the most delicious creme brulee you have ever tasted. And an absolute fantastic taster for any guest that you might be having on New Year's Eve. Now you can make these with other liqueurs. I have tried using Malibu, but you don't get a coconut taste at all. All you get is the alcohol taste. The other good thing is when you heat up the Baileys with the cream, it burns all of the alcohol out of it, so it's not an alcoholic dessert at all, even though it's got alcohol in there. So that's our eggs separated. You can use the whites of the egg to make some meringue if you want to, but I won't be. So into the egg yolks, we're just going to pop in 2 tablespoonfuls of sugar, and this is where your bird's custard comes in handy. We need 1.5 heaped tablespoonfuls of custard, and it's got to be practically spot on this, because if you put too much in, it ends up really thick, and if you put too little in, it ends up really runny. And the consistency is absolutely superb if you do it with 1.5 tablespoonfuls. A nice dash of your vanilla extract. And then what we're going to do is we're going to whisk these 3 ingredients together until it's nice and very lightly coloured. You'll see that it changes colour, goes very, very light. And there we go, that's your base mixture ready. And then the next step, which is really simple, is you open your 600ml container of double cream, or whichever cream you want, and you pour all of that into a pan. And then you also need 275 mils of Baileys. Again, too much is no good, and too little isn't any good either. Now what I'll do is just more or less, I'll just put half of this container in there. And now we're going to go and heat up the milk and the Baileys. So what you do is you literally pop your Baileys and your cream into the pan and you put it on high. Now you must keep stirring this, because for one thing, it will stick to the bottom of the pan, but number 2 is it literally will make the pan jump off the plate. I don't know what it is about Baileys and cream in a pan getting heated up like hot milk, but it literally, bang, jumps right up. So back in a sec. And then what you do is you pour your hot milk onto the custard, not the other way around. Again, if you pour it the other way around, like pouring the custard into the cream, it doesn't work. So, and it sort of overcooks the egg and everything, and turns it into, not scrambled egg, but it almost turns it into scrambled egg. So you need to give it a good mix, so it's literally mixed right throughout every little bit of the recipe, and the mixture in the bottom is mixed with your cream and your Baileys. Now at this point, there's nothing you can do to change the texture. Don't try to put any more Baileys in it. Don't try to put it back on the pan if you think it's not hot enough, thick enough, because again, that just won't work. I've done it all. I'm just teaching you to learn from my mistakes. I've done all of those things because I wanted it thicker or I wanted it thinner, and it just fails miserably if you do that. So back to our ramekin dishes or creme brulee dishes or whatever they're called, and then we'll literally, I just need 1 spoon . And it's my lovely red silicone spoon. I love this spoon and it's perfect for doing this job. So I'm just giving it a stir, just like you would with your soap, giving it a stir to get rid of some of the bubbles. But it's not imperative that you get rid of the bubbles in this recipe. And so we've given it a stir, and then we are literally going to pour it into the ramekin dish. This is the good bit, because if you've got any left over, you can actually eat it.
But it's important not to get drunk.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make you drunk because we've just boiled all of the alcohol off the recipe. Unfortunately, I think we might just not have any spare left over this time. I'm going to scrape every little last bit out with these fantastic spoons that we all love, and into the ramekin dish. This isn't going to be a full one, so I will eat this one first. And then all you need to do is just let it settle for about 10 minutes and then pop them in the fridge. And I'll show you what we need for the next part. And this is the part that you do just before you're about to serve them. Back in a tick. And so, once the brulee has been in the fridge, basically overnight, that's all I've done with them. I just put them in. They've probably been in there about 10 hours because I made them last night before I went to bed. And this is this morning as we've got up. So that's the creme brulee, nicely set. We also have a propane, butane propane mix. This is a Go system, and this is a burner. I'm sure you've all seen these. You can get very small versions of these in any kitchen shop, any good cook shop. But these I get from my local DIY store because they last for absolutely ages. This one is, well, it says 631 ml, but I would say that's about a litre. I would guess it's about a litre container. And this bag of sugar is ancient because I've been using it for ages to put on top of my creme brulees, and we've just got a little bit left, and it's golden caster sugar, just the natural unrefined cane sugar. It's difficult to find a sugar that works perfectly for this, but this is the best one I can find. And literally all you do is sprinkle it over the top of your brulee. You can use any kind of sugar, white sugar, any kind of sugar at all, caster sugar, but I tend to find the golden caster works better. Of course you need a spoon, and you'll guess why we need a spoon in just a second. So we're just going to light the burner. This one, it doesn't work brilliantly well, but it's the only one I've had that doesn't, as you can see. That's it. Once you've got the flame going, you just put it on the top of the sugar, like so. That's it. Don't do it too brown, otherwise it'll be black before you know it. And that's it. So you just leave that for a few seconds, because if you were to eat the sugar like that, it'll burn your mouth. And what you get is a beautiful, crunchy topping. And look at the texture. Absolutely delicious. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my very favourite dessert ever. Enjoy yours. Have a great 2013, and I'll see you very soon for lots more soaping videos. In the run up to Christmas, it's always berserk, so it's always difficult for me to get some videos done, but I'll come back in January with lots of more new ones. See you then. Bye for now.